In this video, you'll meet Denise, one of my patients who reversed her rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, irritable bowel, and migraines over 6 months ago, immediately after starting the Mind-Gut Immunity protocols. It's a great interview that you're not going to want to miss.
And I got very emotional and I said, I'm done. I cannot live with these migraines. I can't live rolled up in a ball after I eat every time. I was.
And the rheumatoid, right? I mean, the rheumatoid.
I mean, that was
icing
like
on the cake, right?
Yeah, that was just icing on the cake. Because those other two things, they were controlling my life, truly. So now I'm traveling now, I'm doing things, really. Now I'm getting emotional because it changed my life. It did. And I'm very grateful to you for that because I knew I had to do something. The pills weren't helping. I just had to change.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Chanu Dasari. I'm a surgeon who specializes in reversing gut microbiome dysfunction and autoimmune inflammation. Here, you will hear directly from one of my patients who solved her illness several months ago. She had rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, and sleep dysfunction, which all resolved in a matter of weeks. My technique for resolving symptoms in as little as 6 weeks has helped thousands of patients over the years and is called the Mind-Gut Immunity Method. And if you would like to learn more, visit mgiclinic.com to enroll in a free training. Now, let's hear from Denise. Hey, thanks for joining me again today.
I'm happy to be here. I haven't seen you in a bit.
Yeah. What's been going on?
So it's been 6 months.
Yeah.
Right?
6 months since we started working together.
Yes. And had a little kerfuffle in that time. My stomach is really sensitive, and I think it was, I know we differ with this, but I think it was from something I ate and I got bacteria within me.
Yeah.
And you were kind enough to let me have my illusions or whatever they are, and you gave me antibiotics, but the antibiotics really did help. Because it was just hanging on, it wasn't leaving.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would have left by itself, it might have. It just seemed to be getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
So.
But you're feeling better now.
I'm back on everything again. I'm feeling better now.
Great.
And I went off my migraine medication and because of my stomach and all that happened and the antibiotics that I was on. I've reintroduced them and I'm taking the whole panel of them again. And
the whole regimen.
Yes, the whole regimen, and I'm feeling great.
So take us through. I know when you first came to me 6 months ago, you came to me for a completely different reason, right? And then we got to chatting about your rheumatoid arthritis, right? And then after that, we also were, a few months after that, we were also chatting about your migraines.
Yes.
Take me through sort of what the process was, dealing with rheumatoid arthritis prior to that point.
Okay, well, I had MD VIP doctor.
Yeah, those are like the concierge type doctors, right? Yeah.
And I've had them for, I think it was 8 years, 9 years.
8 years, almost a decade.
Yeah, and they knew me really well, but everything was addressed with medication.
So pills, medications.
And I mean, they helped me. I was in very bad shape when I went to them, and I was anemic, and I wasn't able to eat, and I had lost. I was 100 and I'm 130 now. I was 110 then.
Oh wow! So you were
losing a lot of weight. So I was really emaciated. I couldn't eat. Yeah. I actually couldn't eat, and she helped me with that. And I was taking pain meds then because I had gotten, I was injured in my job and I was assaulted. And so we just kept with that regimen.
I see.
And
you had a rheumatologist at the time too, right?
No, not until I ended up getting really bad plaque on my hands. I suffered from eczema. It was like somebody told me years ago that it was contact dermatitis.
Yeah.
But it's gone off and on all these years. And then my nails got very peculiar. And then I got this heavy plaque on my feet and on my hands, and went to the dermatologist, and she said, because my other doctor, the concierge doctor, she was giving me creams and different things, but nothing
seemed to be
was
working.
touching it.
So during this whole process, sounds like you had a injury, obviously, and then you had rheumatoid arthritis, and then you also had eczema,
right?
And you also had migraines. And during this period of time, it sounds like you were plugged into a decent team of doctors.
Yes.
From what I'm gathering, they're mostly trying to give medications and either creams or
and physical therapy, and you just check off the list, right? You take medications,
go through the motions,
and you do all that, and I did that for years, and I started to gain weight, I started to get better, but all the other stuff was not better. My stomach was a mess. By the time I came to you, we used to call them my incidents. My poor husband, he would say, "Oh, it's your time of the week to get your incident." Like, I would eat, and then I would be rolled up in a ball on the bed for 2 days.
Suffering, sounds like.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
What was there any discussion during this time frame about the gut microbiome, sleep, stress, exercise?
Well, exercise and stress, you do a thing with them every year. And they go over all your numbers and whether you remember things, and they do all your arteries, and, they do all the tests.
Yeah.
And, how are you sleeping? Not really well. Okay, there's a pill for that. No, really.
There's a pill for everything.
Right, really. No, I can't even tell you what in my kitchen, I have a shelf with these 2 little rotary things, and they're all my pills.
Oh, no.
Now, the only pills that are there are actually Excedrin migraine, and all the rest of them are the herbs I'm taking, and all those things.
You don't even take the migraine pills anymore, right?
No.
You barely take them, right? Yeah.
So
you're not taking any medication for your rheumatoid.
No.
Every now and then, but you were taking a lot more migraine medication. You're not taking any migraine medications.
A lot of migraine medication, I would get so many, I think it was 9 a month, and by 2 weeks they were gone.
Wow.
I mean, they were so bad that I had gotten this thing from Canada where it puts sensors on your head, and no, I did everything.
Yeah.
I did everything. And because when you have migraines, and anybody who has migraines understands, you'll do anything to get rid of them. I know when it's happening, my eye goes, my left eye, and then the pain comes.
That's when you know.
And you want to be dark, and you want to roll in a ball, and you don't want to do anything. And now, even, when I went off my medication, my herbs and my supplements, when my stomach got upset, the migraines came back, but they were nothing. When I say I had 2 in a month that were very, very intense, but mine are also the weather, barometric pressure hits me too. So, but the herbs and supplements I was taking for that kept that at bay.
So we started working together around 6 months ago.
Yes.
And we tried the mind-gut immunity method to try to fix a lot of these issues. And I think the approach, obviously, in my clinic has always been, let's try to figure out the root causes behind all of this. And you've also been sort of on this pathway yourself, very in tune with your own body and trying to figure out what's going on. I think one of the first conversations we had was about the gut microbiome and how it affects so much of inflammation in our body. And so we started that about 6 months ago. How soon after we started that process, started the protocols, like the entire process, would you say your symptoms were essentially gone? And I'm talking about symptoms from your rheumatoid arthritis. By that time, your eczema was kind of coming down, and also your migraines.
Yes. So I started it, and I will tell you, I was.
You had your doubts.
I was skeptical.
You were skeptical.
I know. I've been through a lot of things. Been a vegetarian for 35 years. I've done work like that. So I came to you and you said, I remember specifically I'm saying, you say, well, what do you eat? Do you ever eat nuts? And I said, I love nuts. I don't eat them because I can't. And you said, you will. And I went, okay.
We'll see. Right? That's what you
So when I started taking the supplements, I kept a book.
Yeah.
Every day, wrote them down.
Food diary, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to say 2 weeks. It was almost like my stomach just went,
Everything calmed down.
It just kind of like I could breathe again. Because it wasn't when the next incident was going to happen, when my stomach was going to cramp up, when I was going to be rolled up in bed. So about 2 weeks, and I went, maybe I'm just going through a good period.
Maybe you're having a good 2 weeks.
Yeah,
sure.
Because I've had that, right?
Yeah.
But then I kept going, and then my migraines, if I got them, they would be really much less.
Like you used to get them like almost a dozen times a month, right?
Yeah. Easily.
I think it was fairly frequent and fairly, and every time you'd be out, right? Yes.
I can't drive. I can't, cook. I can't.
And then after we put you on the right sort of phytonutrient profile, then it just went down substantially, right?
Substantially. And if I do get them, I get them. They're nothing like the ones that I used to get. I could, interestingly enough, somebody was coming over, I was making a dinner, I could feel it coming, the wind was blowing, and I took 2 migraine Excedrins, and not the prescription. I made dinner, I had a nice night. I could have never done that.
Never done that in the past. Yeah. One of the things that I notice when I'm talking to patients is that their nutritional deficiencies are not really addressed. So I see it very commonly that they have micronutrient deficiencies. And these are one of the first things that we correct, right? Like that's the long speech I give you at the beginning. I'm like, hey, this whole process we're going to do together, it's not totally straightforward, and there is a learning curve, but as you get through the process, you'll understand, hey, we need these phytonutrients in our diet, right? So that's one thing I try to educate folks on, and then the other one really is is resetting your gut microbiome, right? Yeah. Like that was a huge piece, right? Yes. Before that, like you'd been to rheumatologists, you've been to these headache specialists, you've been to concierge VIP doctors, and there's never a real good strategy of how to decrease inflammation in the gut. But that was like the number one source of discomfort for you, right? Like every time you had these incidents, it was in your gut, And the migraine, I would know I'm getting it with the urine and everything, but my stomach. Wow.
So, right?
Yeah.
So my stomach gets queasy, and I go, okay.
Now you know.
And then it would go on.
Then you're going to get the migraine. Then you're going to get kind of the rheumatoid symptoms, right?
So the last gastroenterologist I was to, I had a whole issue with my stomach. They did endoscopy, they did a colonoscopy, and he said, you know what, you just need to calm down. You just have a nervous stomach.
Oh no.
And
so he was just blaming it on your emotions when you walked in.
I was so livid. I almost came up off the chair. You're in pain. You're not I was in such pain. They gave me pills for it, of course, but I was in such pain. I was just spasming constantly.
What pills did they give you? Do you remember?
I think it's called Levsin.
Okay.
And
that was. And you also took the opiate pills, right, for a while?
Yes.
Those pain medications.
Yes. Yeah. And that was,
just awful.
Me going to the bathroom every day is a miracle.
Yeah.
No. My whole life I've had trouble. No matter if I was a vegetarian, what diet I would go on, what herbs and supplements I had taken in my life, it never was like this.
But now I would say all those problems are resolved, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I know in the last 6 months you've had a great time. You've tossed all your pills. Now you just have a little storage drawer with all of your old pills. Part of this was I wanted our the people to figure out like what are some of the challenges you saw through your care, and what are some of the lessons I think you learned through this whole process.
Okay, you have to be open.
Yeah.
When you're in pain, And if you come to the point, I don't know if you remember, when I came here, I was done.
I know, you were done with doctors. you're like,
my husband said go, and I don't want to go to another doctor.
Usually you don't end up in a surgeon's office as your first choice, right? You're like, why am I going, right?
And I told you, and I got very emotional, and I said, I'm done. I cannot live with these migraines. I can't live rolled up in a ball after I eat every time. I was.
And the rheumatoid, right? I mean, the rheumatoid.
I mean, that was
icing
like
on the cake, right?
Yeah, that was just icing on the cake. Because those other two things, they were controlling my life, truly. So now I'm traveling now, I'm doing things, really. Now I'm getting emotional because it changed my life. It did. And I'm very grateful to you for that, because I knew I had to do something. The pills weren't helping. I just had to change. Mm-hmm. It just had, and when I looked at, I remember coming out of the office and looking at all the supplements and everything and going, okay, how is this going to work? But I was so desperate at that point, and I just said, so what are you doing now? Like, you're in pain, you're suffering. So what are you doing? Mm-hmm. So at least try it. So keeping an open mind. Yeah, there were little bumps. I ended up traveling, and I called you because I was sitting in a restaurant, and I was having breakfast, and I was sitting there. I got such a cramp up my leg.
I know. I remember that call.
I couldn't, I had to get back to my room because I was in the hotel. I could hardly get there. It was black and blue. That's how bad the cramp was. So when you said to me, do these things, I did them religiously exactly how you told me. And I told you I was a salt monger, and I loved sugar. And I said, it's really going to be hard to go off sugar. For me, it was a salt, and I didn't understand that and realize that. But I took salt out of everything. There was hardly any kind of sodium in anything I took. That was not for me. Yeah. I had to reinduce some. And now I don't do anything.
I remember your levels were a little low, and that's what. And then, and when you had a tiny bit of salt, it actually helped, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I was getting cramp. My toes were cramping, and now I know if I'm not getting the proper amount of salt, I'll just add some in my food, which I stopped doing, right? Yeah, but I do that only because I know that if I'm getting a little crampy, that will.
You are also a special case, because most of the clients I work with, they're eating a bunch of processed food and they're eating a bunch of this other stuff.
Right.
You are always a pretty clean eater. I mean, that's the, I mean, you know what I mean? Like always preparing your own foods.
Yes.
You're the one that got me plugged into the farmer's market here. Right. I mean, with organic greens and the grow, got me plugged into the growers directly. And so I think that piece is important, because there wasn't a lot of salt maybe to even begin with in your diet.
Right.
Right. And then if you were to cut back even further, maybe that was a little too much. But it sounds like you kind of have found.
I did. I found the balance of that. So because you said to me when I told you that, and I told you because I was in LA, it was hot, it was. I was losing. It was very humid. And I just think I lost the salt out of my body, and
just getting dehydrated.
Right, right. So, but you said to me, you knew your body better. Go with what you think your body needs. And so, like I said, I use salt now. I use it sparingly, but my food is still clean. I don't, I'm not doing processed things.
By the way, your salt intake is very low. I hope you know. I mean, you know that, right?
Well, I feel a little guilty sometimes when I'm going, oh my God, I could put salt on something, because I love this stuff.
Yeah.
But interesting, somebody had asked me. I was somewhere and we were talking, and they said, well, with this diet, because I'm always telling people about it, and they said, oh, I do. And what do you think is different? And I said, I taste things.
Yeah.
Now I ate clean except my sugar.
Yeah.
I like to bake things. I like to, and it doesn't seem to be the gluten for me, but dairy was big, right? Because, flans and all different kinds of things I'm making.
Yeah.
And so then I started to taste my food. You get things from the farmer's market, you get things fresh. They taste much better. They taste even better now because my taste buds have readjusted.
And you're more sensitive to the taste, absolutely. Right? Yeah. You're not overly seasoning things. And,
Yeah. And it takes a minute to, I know it would be harder for other, like my sister said to me, I can't do that. And I said, well, you can. I said, you know, it's not that hard. It's just like retraining yourself, you know? And if I'm going to bake something for me, like I still bake regular, but if I'm going to bake something for me, I'll use gluten-free and I'll use non-dairy. I mean, now, when I was a vegetarian all those years ago, in this country, you couldn't get.
Yes.
I mean, they would laugh at you. You every restaurant, if I had to go out and they go to, oh, we have salad. We can make you buttered, you know, olive oil pasta. Oh, thank you very much. You know, but now it's so much easier. There's farmers markets everywhere. There's Sprouts and Whole Foods and, you know, all these places. And if you have to go to Albertsons, you go to Albertsons. But you get the right things.
Yeah, you get the right things. Well, that's great. One of the things I was going to say is, you know, since we started working together, I've had a tremendous amount of interest from folks around the world, really, that have had autoimmune disease, specifically rheumatoid arthritis, specifically eczema, even migraines. And I'm always trying to, you know, trying to educate them on these processes, and the categories that they kind of fall into are the diet, the digestion, the sleep, and the exercise, and really just go into like what, you know, how to fix these. And if you could say what one of the most challenging things were for you, or maybe go into maybe like how you see yourself kind of growing your culinary aptitude, I guess, in the next several years. You know, I kind of want to know both the challenges and then sort of what you're looking forward to.
Okay, so I think that when you start to eat this way, you expect everything to taste that way because, like you said, your taste buds get used to it.
So what's life like now without inflammation?
Without inflammation. Yeah. I'm not rolled up in a ball. I'm going out more. I'm doing more. I'm exercising more. You told me when we started also, I asked you about the magnesium glycinate.
Glycinate.
Yeah. Okay. And so he said, just take it. It'll help, but take 2 at night. And I went, okay. And I said, what does this help me with? And you said sleep. And I went, okay. My sleep is very broken and very bad. And then one of our talks,
we did an entire sleep inventory, right?
Yes,
like we went through a whole checklist of items, and that's kind of, I do that with everyone, right? Because sleep is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. It gets overlooked. People don't even understand like how much sleep helps inflammation. And so that's nice. You're finally enjoying sleep now.
Yes.
You don't have any inflammation, right?
No, and because when you're in pain, your sleep gets interrupted. And you told me, take these. And I'm thinking, they tried to give me sleeping pills. I was taking pain pills. I was taking on these are going to make me help me sleep.
You know, it turns out, like, you know how I said people have micronutrient deficiencies? Well, one of the most common mineral deficiencies people have is magnesium. People, it's like almost 80% of the U.S. population. People don't even know it. You know, so 4 out of 5 people walking around have low magnesium levels. And so
I must have been one of them, because I'll tell you, they really, and I'm thinking 2 of them, I don't really, and
it worked.
Within a few days, I was actually asleep, and my husband said, "I didn't you get up last night?" And I said, "Because I didn't."
Got better sleep.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming over and sharing your experience. It means a lot. And
well, I do it for you. I wouldn't do this. No, God, you're laughing.
Thank you.
My husband knows that. I wouldn't do. He goes, "You're going to be on like a camera thing," and I said,
"Yeah, you're going to be on a camera."
Yeah, and I said, "I would only do it for you because I'm so grateful to you."
I appreciate it.
Because I'm just a different person.
Thank you.
I have a lot of life to live and new grandbabies to take care of and golf tournaments to go to.
Tournaments.
I have much to do.
You're a busy grandma now.
Yeah, so that's why I'm so grateful to you, because it's really helped me.
Well, I'm glad. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed that segment. If you made it to the end, just know that total recovery is possible and you don't need to be on medications for the rest of your life. If you enjoyed my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you think this video will help someone that you know, be sure to repost a link to this video. And as always, I'm Dr. Chanu Dasari with the Mind Gut Immunity Clinic, and I'll see you next time.